Om Shri Lakshmi Narsimhaya Namaha, Valmiki Ramayana, Ayodhya Kanda, Chapter 91. Bharadwaja entertains Bharata. Summary. Having been instructed by Bharadwaja to bring the army to his place, Bharata allowed his army also to come to the hermitage. Then Bharadwaja invokes Visvakarma, the divine architect, and requests him to arrange for a befitting hospitality to Bharata. Chapter 91 in detail. Seeing he had resolved to halt at that place for that night, the sage Bharadwaja prepared to offer Bharata, the son of Keki, the full honors due to a guest. Then Bharata said to Bharadwaja as follows: "Have you not presented me with water to wash my hands and feet, and offered this hospitality fitting for a guest in this forest?" Then Bharadwaja smilingly replied to Bharata as follows: "I know you possess a friendly disposition, and you are pleased with whatever is offered to you. O Bharata, the excellent among men, I wish to offer food to your army. You ought to fulfill my satisfaction in every suitable way. O warrior, why did you come here, leaving your army at a distance? Why did you not come to my place with your army?" Bharata, with joined palms, replied to Bharadwaja, who was rich with austerity, in the following words: "O venerable one, I have not come here with my army for the fear of displeasing you. O venerable one, either the king or the prince should always keep away from the places occupied by ascetics. O holy one, spirited horses, men, and rare elephants in rut covering an immense area are accompanying me. Let them not damage the trees, huts, and grounds, and defile the waters of the hermitage. In this thought I came alone." Then Bharata, having been commanded by the great sage to bring the army there, allowed the army's arrival to the hermitage. Meanwhile, entering the fire sanctuary, the place where the sacrificial fire is kept, sipping water and wiping the lips, Bharadwaja invoked Visvakarma, the architect of gods, in order to fulfill his duties towards the guests as follows: "I wish to offer hospitality to the guest. I summon Visvakarma, who is also the divine carpenter. Let arrangements be made in that connection for me." I further invoked three gods, Yama, Varuna, and Kubera, the guardians of the worlds, with Indra as their king. I wish to offer hospitality to the guests. Let arrangements be made in this connection for me. Let the rivers which flows towards the east and those which flows towards the west across the earth and in the aerial region now come together here from all quarters. Let some rivers flow with myria, a kind of wine made from date palms, etc. Some others flow with highly refined spirituous liquor, and some others flow with cool water with a taste of sugarcane. I invoke the celestials and celestial musicians, Vishwavasu, Haha, and Hahu, as also Apsaras, belonging to the celestial and celestial musician race from all regions. I invoke the celestial nymphs called Gritachi, Vishwachi, Mishrakeshi, Alambusa, Nagadanta, and Hema, as also Hema, who has an abode made in the mountains. I invoke the fair women who are attending on Brahma, the Lord of creation, all of them with their external appendages like musical instruments, along with their teachers, Tumburu. Let the beautiful garden in the region of northern Kuru, presided over by Kubera, the god of richness, always with its leaves which serves as raiment and ornaments, with its fruits in the form of heavenly damsels, appear in this place. May the blessed moon god, the deity presiding over annual plants, furnish me at this place excellent food of every variety, confections, sweets, sauces, and syrups. May the blessed moon god furnish me many colored flowers which have just fallen from the flower plants or trees, the drinks like wine, and others as also various kinds of meat." That sage Bharadwaja, with his intense meditation, possessing unequaled splendor, and with austerity, spoke as follows, in tones befitting proper articulation and pronunciation of the scriptural texts. While the sage Bharadwaja, with joined palms, was meditating with absorption in the east, all those celestials came one by one. Then a pleasant, comfortable, and gracious breeze passing over the mountain of Malya and Dardura began to blow, removing sweat by its influence. Thereafter, wonderful clouds let loose a rain of flowers, while the sound of divine gongs could be heard on every side. Troops of apsaras danced to the melodious rustling of the wind. The celestials and the celestial musicians sang. Veena, stringed musical instruments transmitted their tunes. Sweat and harmonious sounds emitted smoothly entered the sky earth and the ears of beings. When those celestial melodies ceased so pleasingly heard by the human ears, Bharata's army saw the wonderful creation of Visvakarma. A leveled land of approximately 20 miles on all sides became covered by many carpets of grass, dark as emerald. At that place, Bilva, Kapitha, Panasa, Chitron, Amaliki, and mango trees laden with fruits appeared. A forest of divine enjoyments from the territory of northern Kurus, along with a river shaped with various trees on its bank, appeared there. Splendid square mansions with stables for elephants and horses, as well as resplendent gates with watchtowers flanked by turrets, were seen. A royal place emerged, dazzling as a cloud, pierced by splendid archers, hung with white garlands filled with fragrance of celestial perfumes, forming a perfect quadrangle, spacious, furnished with couches, seats, and planquets, supplied with ambrosia drink of every kind, as well as magnificent attire and food of every variety, well prepared eatables of every description in cleaned vessels free from dirt, and all kinds of seats arranged in order looked charming, with superb couches duly covered with rich carpets. The mighty armed Bharata, the son of Keki, on invitation by the great sage, entered that place filled with precious gems. All the ministers, together with priests, accompanied Bharata, and on entering that excellent get-up of the house, were filled with delight. Bharata, along with his ministers, went clockwise round the excellent royal throne. Whisk and the royal umbrella kept there as if they were utilized by a king. They paid reverence to the royal seat, bowing before it as if Rama sat thereon. And thereafter Bharata, taking hold of the whisk, sat down on the seat meant for the chief minister. All the ministers and priests sat down in the order of precedence. Thereafter the chief of the army, and at last the officer in charge of the encampment occupied their seats. Then, on an instant, by the order of Bharadwaja, streams having milk thickened with rice in the place of mud flowed towards Bharata. On both the banks of the streams, enchanting and celestial houses plastered with white clay, born out of the grace of Brahma, the Lord of creation, appeared. At that moment itself, 20,000 women adorned with beautiful ornaments sent by Brahma arrived. 20,000 more women who were radiant and adorned with gold, gems, pearls, and corals came from the region of Kubera. A particular company of Apsara, embraced by whom a man looked as though seized with insanity, came from Nandana Grove. Those most excellent kings among celestial musicians, Narada, Tumbura, and Gopa, whose radiance is like that of the sun, began to sing in front of Bharata. Then, on the command of Bharadwaja, Alambusa, Mishrakesi, and Vamana started dancing in the presence of Bharata. By the command of Bharadwaja, wreaths of flowers which were beloved of the gods, or those which grow in the woods of Chaitraratha, were seen at Prayaga. By the command of Bharadwaja, bell trees assumed the form of drummers. Vibhiktaka trees assumed the form of cymbalists, and papal trees assumed the form of dancers. Then Dogdars, palmiers, and tilaka trees, along with tamala trees, transformed into hunchbacks and doves, and joyfully arrived there. Shimshapas, that's Ashoka trees, Amalikis, Emlik, Myrobalan, Jambus, rose apple trees, Malati, Mallikajati, and other creepers in the forest have been charged into dancing girls in the hermitage of Bharadwaja, and they spoke as follows: O wine bibbers, drink the wine, however much you desire. O troops stricken with hunger, Let milk thickened with rice and the meats, which are very much fresh, be eaten as you will. 7 or 8 young women bathed every single man on the beautiful river banks after massaging their body with oil. Women with charming eyes came running and shampooed their limbs. Lovely women likewise wiped off the moisture on their body with towels and gave them beverages to drink, mutually sharing them among each other. The keepers of animals fed horses, elephants, donkeys, camels, and bullocks, the offspring of Surabhi, the divine cow, with their suitable feed. The animals belonging to the exceedingly strong and illustrious warriors, the descendants of Ikshvaku, were fed with piece of sugar cane and roasted grain soaked in honey, duly cajoling them to eat. The groom did not recognize his horse, the elephant keeper did not recognize his elephant. That army there appeared intoxicated, maddened, and enraptured on that spot. With all their desires gratified, their bodies anointed with red sandal paste, and surrounded by a company of apsaras, those soldiers uttered the following words: "We shall not go either to Ayodhya or to Dandaka forest. Let Bharata be well, likewise let Rama too be at ease." Having obtained that hospitality, the infantry, the cavalry, as well as those mounted on elephants and their keepers too, no longer acknowledging their leader, spoke the following words. In the height of joy, those men in thousands there, the retinue of Bharata, cried out, "This is verily of heaven." The soldiers in thousands, wretched in flowers, danced, laughed, sang, and ran hither and thither. To those soldiers who had partaken that food, which was as sweet as ambrosia, when they saw again those fresh dishes, then arose in them a desire to eat them again. Thousands of servants, slaves, youthful women, and those in the army on every side, clad in new raiment, became very much contented. Elephants, donkeys, camels, bullocks, horses, animals, and birds that were suitable, well fed. Hence, one did not afflict the other. There was no one seen in soiled attire or hungry or unkempt, or even with hair powdered with dust. Dishes of goat and boar with delicious sauces were there, and condiments that were spicy, fragrant, and succulent, cooked in fruit juices. Vessels of rare metals filled with rice, decorated with flowers, were offered in thousands to the soldiers there. The soldiers saw them with wonder on all sides. The wells in various sides of the forest surrounding Bharadwaja's hermitage have their mud transformed into milk, in which rice was cooked. The cows in the region were transformed into cows of plenty, and the trees dripped honey. Some ponds there were endowed with full of wine, and some were filled with assortment of various dessert meats pertaining to deer, peacock, and wild cocks, cooked in hot pans. There were thousands of portable furnaces, lakhs of culinary utensils, 10 crores of golden vessels, well-cleaned bowls filled with curds, small water jars, and wide-mouthed dishes, lakes full of fresh curds, shining fragrant, and the color of a wood apple, curds mixed with sugar and spices, some other lakes filled with curds, some other filled with milk soaked in rice, as well as sugar, and some other lakes with a mixture of barley and sugar were formed. Those soldiers saw jellies, powders, and syrups made of fruits, and various kinds of accessories used in bathing, kept stored in vessels on the banks of rivers. Those soldiers saw there were heaps of twigs used for cleaning the teeth, with white brushes at the tips, white sandal paste stored in caskets, polished mirrors, piles of clothes, thousands of pairs of shoes and sandals, caskets containing eye wash for the eyes, combs, brushes, clothing, bows, protectors of vitals, strange couches and seats, drinking ponds for donkeys, camels, elephants, and horses, lakes with good stairs for decent, having water lilies and lotuses with sky blue color, with clear water offering a comfortable bath, and soft grasses having a color of nipa tree, and cat's-eye germs useful for feeding animals. Seeing such a wonderful and dreamlike hospitality offered by the great sage Bharadwaja, all those men were surprised. While they were enjoying this in the charming hermitage of Bharadwaja in the same manner as celestials enjoy the garden of Nandana, that night had elapsed. Having been permitted by Bharadwaja those rivers, the celestial musicians and all those beautiful women went back by the same way they came. The soldiers, intoxicated with spirituous liquor, were likewise excited with joy. Likewise, the men were drenched in charming alloys and sandal paste. Various kinds of excellent and charming garlands were there, crushed and garlands were there, crushed and scattered at distance likewise. Thus completes 91st chapter of Ayodhya Kanda of the glorious Ramayana of Valmiki, the work of a sage and the oldest epic. Sri Moola Rama Vijayate. Om Sri Krishnarpanamastu.